Today we're going to learn how to play Wingspan, a beautiful board game all about birds. I'm going to teach you how to play the game using the digital version on Steam. I'm going to do a full playthrough against AI and teach you everything you need to know about the game step by step as we go through it. And this will work for you whether you want to play the digital version or the physical version. Either way will work. This is just a cool way to learn the game regardless. This game was designed by Elizabeth Hargrave, illustrated by Natalia Rojas, Ana Maria Martinez Jaramillo, and Beth Sobel. The game is published by Stonemaier Games, and this digital version is made by Monster Couch. All right, so let's go straight into the game here. I'm going to click the play button. I'm going to make a new game against the AI. And we're not playing with any expansions here. This is just the base game. Okay, so this game is played in a series of rounds. This is the first round, and I'm just going to click to start. And let's take a look at these awesome bird cards. Okay, don't worry about what it's asking me to do here. Let's just take a look at these cards. So Wingspan is a game about sort of collecting birds or attracting birds into your habitat. The theme is sort of you're like an ornithologist, or you have a wildlife preserve or something like that. And each player is competing to sort of have the best habitat of birds by the end of the game, which is measured in points. So the first thing to notice is just look at these bird cards. So notice that this chestnut collared longspur here, just take a look at this part here. 5, the feather symbol, that's points. So this card is going to be worth 5 points at the end of the game. This turkey vulture will be worth 1 point, and so on. So most of your points in the game are going to come from the bird cards that you add into your habitat. There are some other ways to get points, and we'll get to those when the time comes. Now, in order to attract a bird into your habitat, it needs to have something to eat. So if you look at the top left here of this chestnut colored longspur, this is the food cost of this bird. And so if you want this bird to join your wildlife preserve or whatever it is you've got going on, then it's going to need to have an invertebrate and 2 seeds. If you have that, you can pay that cost and put the bird into your wildlife preserve. Okay, so you can see the different costs on the different birds. There are different kinds of food. So over here on the right, we can see them. There's fruit, fish, invertebrates, rodents, and seeds. So this red cockaded woodpecker costs 1 fruit and 1 invertebrate. This turkey vulture doesn't cost any food at all. Okay. So what the game is asking me to do right now is to keep 5 things between cards and food. So I've got 5 bird cards to choose from, and I have 1 of each type of food, and I can only keep 5 of those sort of 10 items. So I'm just going to go ahead and make some quick decisions here without worrying about too much what these actually do for now. Okay, so I'm going to choose these 2 birds. And then I'm going to want to pick food that sort of matches them. So let's see, they both want invertebrates, so let's pick one of those. This guy wants a seed, we'll pick one of those. This guy wants a berry, we'll pick one of those. Okay, so I've chosen my 5 things. That's fine. Now, it's asking me to choose a bonus card. This is another way to get points, and this is sort of like a long-term quest that each player is going to have in the game to sort of satisfy different conditions to get different bonuses. I'm just going to pick one here, and we'll just move on because we want to understand how the game works before we think too much about, our long-term point goals. So let's focus on the birds for now. Okay, so I have these 2 birds in my hand. So each player has a hand of cards. The birds in your hand aren't worth any points. If you want to get points out of them, you've got to attract them into one of your habitats. So there are 3 habitats in your wildlife sanctuary or whatever it is. There is the forest, the grasslands, and the wetlands. So in the physical game, each player has a player board with your 3 habitats, and this is what it looks like in the physical game. So the forest are those 5 spots on top, the grasslands are those 5 spots in the middle, and the wetlands are those 5 spots on the bottom. And those are places where you can put a bird card. So each habitat can hold 5 bird cards. But in the digital game, it's represented in this other way. Okay, so here's my first turn. So here's my forest, my grasslands, and my wetlands. And if I wanted to, I can look at it in the game this way as well, but it's not quite as pretty. Okay, it's my turn right now. And on your turn, basically you do one of two things. You either place a bird into a habitat, or you activate a habitat. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about placing a bird into a habitat. All right, so here's this red cockaded woodpecker, and I have enough food to actually play this card, right? I do have a fruit, and I have an invertebrate, which is what this bird needs. This one, I don't quite have enough. So how do I do it? All right, well, look at the top left of the bird. See that little forest symbol? That means this bird can only live in the forest. All right, so if I go to my forest, I can put this card in that first slot. So like I said, there are 5 slots in each habitat, and each one can hold a bird. When you put a bird in, it goes in the first slot on the left. The next one will go the second, the third, the fourth, and so on like that. Okay, so let's just do it. Let's put the bird in here. It's asking me to pay the food cost. I have it. So let's go ahead and do it.
Red cockaded woodpecker.
Okay.
This bird
Now,
is in danger due to habitat loss. There may be fewer than 10,000.
So one of the cool things about the digital game here is that you can actually hear some of the bird calls. And also there's like a cool voiceover that explains what the birds do. And if you right click on your mouse, you can actually see information about the birds. So this bird is in danger due to habitat loss. There may be fewer than 10,000. All right, so I'm happy to have that in my sanctuary. Okay, well, this bird has an effect which says when played, do something. So a lot of birds will have a bonus effect when you play them. So this one says draw 2 new bonus cards and keep one. The bonus cards are these ones that are going to give me extra points at the end of the game. This one says bird counter, birds with a this kind of power. Give me points. Birds with at least 4 eggs laid on them. Give me 1 point per bird. Okay, I'm just going to pick this one again. Don't worry too much about what these mean for now. So my opponents are taking their turns right now. I'm playing against 3 AI players. So this is a 4-player game. Okay, it's back to me. And they're telling me what they've done. We're not going to pay too much attention to what the opponents are up to here. You know, if you're playing a very strategic game against other players, then you might want to sort of keep an eye on what everyone is up to. But for this teaching game, we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to focus on our own game. And this is a game that doesn't have a whole lot of player interaction. It's mostly each person is kind of doing their own thing, pretty much. There are some ways that we sort of compete, and we'll get to that. Okay, so it's my turn. Like I said, you either play a bird card or you activate a habitat. Well, I have 1 bird card in my hand, but I don't have enough food for this bird, so I can't play it, right? It needs 2 seeds and 1 invertebrate. I don't have that. So my other option is to activate a habitat. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, if I want to get food, then I can activate my forest to get food. So in the forest, this is where food is found. And it comes from this bird feeder, which is maybe a little bit weird since it's a forest. Not sure why the birds need a bird feeder, but I guess it is sort of a sanctuary of some sort. Anyway, in the physical game, there's a cool little bird feeder dice tower. And there are 5 little food dice that are there. Okay, so I'll explain the mechanics of how it works later, but for now, we can see this is the food that's available in the bird feeder. So I could get a rodent, or I could get an invertebrate, or I could get a fruit. Now, unfortunately, none of those match this bird. So that's not great. I mean, the invertebrate would, I guess. Okay, so let's do it. So to get food, what can I do? Well, what happens is I activate the first available empty slot. So this bird filled up this slot, so I'm not going to be using that one. I can click on this one, and what that will do is it lets me take 1 food die from the feeder. So I click on it, choose a food from the bird feeder, this one, or this one. All right, well, I do want the invertebrate, so I'll take that. This little thing means if I want to, I can discard a bird card from my hand to take an extra food from the feeder, but I don't want to do that because this is my only bird. So I'll just take this invertebrate, and that will be that. And that's it. My turn is over. It goes to the next player. So it's very simple. You play a bird or you activate a habitat. Okay, it's back to my turn again. So you can see the round structure here. We're going to play through 4 rounds, and each round we're going to have a number of turns, and I'll explain the mechanics of that later. So we don't need to worry about it too much just yet. All right, so it's back to me again. I either play a bird or I activate a habitat. Well, once again, I don't have enough food for this bird. So I could just get more food here. Now there's only a rodent here, but you know what? That's okay, because there's a rule that says if you're taking food from the feeder and all of the dice in the feeder have the same face, are showing the exact same face, then you can re-roll the dice. So there are 5 food dice, and 4 of them have already been used, so they just sit outside the feeder. Once the feeder is empty, then you take all those dice and you throw them back in the feeder. They get re-rolled, and there's new food available. So watch, I'm going to go here. Now I could take the rat, but I don't want a rodent right now. What I really want to get is another seed. So because there's only 1 die there, that means all the dice that are there are showing the same face, right? Because there's only 1, so they're all the same, you know what I mean? So I can re-roll. So all these 4 dice plus this one are going to get re-rolled, and let's see what happens. Okay. Now there are 5 dice there, and I've got my choice between fish, fruit, 2 rodents. This one means I can choose either a seed or an invertebrate. So that's perfect, because what I want is a seed, right? So I've got 1 seed and 1 invertebrate. I need 1 more seed, and then I can play this bird. So let's do that. Turn over. My opponents have their turns. Okay, it's back to me. So I have enough food for this chestnut-colored longspur. Now this one doesn't live in the forest, though. This one lives in the grassland. So if I click my grassland, I can move down here, and I have that first open spot. Don't worry about these eggs just yet. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So I'm going to put this in the first slot. I'm going to pay the food, and then I'm going to activate the bird. This one happens to have the same effect as the last bird I played. So I'm going to get yet another bonus card.
Chestnut-collared longspur. This bird's population dropped by 82% between 1966 and 2015.
Okay, a little depressing. All right, so I can choose between the historian power, which means I get 2 points for every bird that's named after a person. This tells me what I currently have that matches that criteria. Or fishery manager, I get points for birds that eat fish. And it tells me how many cards there are in the deck that match that criteria. It's kind of a nice little feature. So we'll just go with the ones that eat fish. I don't have any birds that eat fish yet, but we'll try to find some later. Okay, so one of my opponent's birds has an effect that affects everyone. This canvas back says all players draw 1 card from the deck. Okay, perfect. I'd love to get a card. All right. What's this? Okay. Great. Okay. So I have a new bird here, which needs food. And again, I'm out of food. So I guess I'm going to go back here. Now this one needs an invertebrate and a seed. I don't have either, and this doesn't have any of those, so that's not ideal. Let's take a look at the wetlands for a moment. So the wetlands is where you can get new bird cards. The forest is where you get food so that you can play the cards you have. The wetlands is where you get new birds. So there are 3 birds here. If I activate this habitat, then I get to just draw a card. I can choose one of these 3 birds, or I can just take the top card from the deck, which is a random card. So let's take a look at what's available here. We've got this cat bird, which needs fruit and an invertebrate. We've got this blue-gray gnatcatcher, which is very cheap. Only takes one invertebrate. I kind of like that. The great egret needs a bit of food, but it is a fish-eating bird, which we do care about. Let's go back to see what is in the bird feeder. Fruit and a rodent. I mean, that might change, though, by the time our turn comes back. So you know what? I'm going to actually go ahead and I'm going to activate my wetlands, and I'm going to choose to draw this blue-gray. Am I? Yeah. I'm going to take this gnatcatcher. It's cheap. So that's my turn. That card got replaced, you'll notice, from the deck. So whenever someone takes a card from the pool here, then at the end of the turn, it will get replaced by cards from the deck. It doesn't get immediately replaced. So if you happen to draw like 2 bird cards, you know, you pick one, you pick another one, then you replace them. Okay, no one has taken food. I was kind of hoping one of my opponents would take food and re-roll that for me. Okay, it has happened. Great. All right, so let's go ahead and go for some food. And I don't want this fruit. I want, you know, an invertebrate or a seed, ideally. So let's re-roll. And I can do that because there's only one die there, so therefore all the dice are showing the same face. Okay, perfect. I've got my choice of an invertebrate or seed. So let's go with the invertebrate. And you know what? Just to be a jerk, we'll take the one that gives an option. I mean, it doesn't really make any difference because it's all invertebrates or seeds, but I'll just go ahead and take this. Whoops. What's going on here? Okay. That's my turn. So very simple turns, right? You do one thing only. I like that. It's a nice feature when a game kind of has that simplicity to the turn. It doesn't mean that the game itself doesn't have strategic depth, but one thing per turn is just kind of a nice, easy thing to keep track of. You don't have multiple actions. You don't remember how many actions do I have left this turn. It's like, if you did anything, you're done. So we can take a look at the overview here and see I have 1 bird in my forest and 1 bird in my wetlands. Okay. All right. So I have the food to feed this blue-gray gnatcatcher. All right. So I can put him in the next slot of my forest. Ah, but I can't. I don't have enough eggs. So let's talk about eggs. The first slot in each habitat, you can put a bird there with food only. You don't need any eggs. But when you want to put a card in the second slot or the third slot, you're going to need an egg. You need to pay 1 egg to put that bird there. But I don't have any eggs. So how do I get eggs? Well, eggs come from the grasslands. So that's what you get when you go to the grasslands. The forest gets you food from the feeder. The wetlands gets you bird cards from, I'm not sure what that's called. The display, I think it's called. And the grasslands gets you eggs, which is what's going to let you place birds in your other slots beyond the first. Okay, so we're going to activate the first open slot in the habitat here. And that's going to get me 2 eggs. It's also going to allow me to pay 1 food of any type to get another egg. Now, I'm not going to do that because I only have this 1 food thing and I want that to play this. So I'm just going to click here and that's going to get me 2 eggs. I'm not going to choose this option. Oh, hold on. Okay, so the way eggs work is you don't just like have eggs in some little stockpile of eggs. They actually have to go on your bird. So each bird can hold eggs, which will be used to get more birds. So for example, if I look at this bird I have in my habitat here, it has 4 egg slots on it, which means this bird can hold 4 eggs. The woodpecker up here can hold 2 eggs. And so I need to choose which birds I want to put these eggs on. So I can put both of them on one bird, or I can spread them across different birds. I'm going to put one on this bird and one on this bird. You can see here I have 2 eggs now. All right, this is my last turn in the round. So we'll see what that means in a moment. But let's just go with the idea that I have this bird, I want to play it, and I now can play it because I have the bird, I have the food, and I have an egg to do it. So we'll put that here. There it is. Okay, now I have to choose which bird I want to take the egg from. All right, well, we'll just take it off of this woodpecker here.
Blue-gray gnatcatcher. Gnatcatcher's breeding range is steadily shifting north with climate change. Okay.
This guy's bird activated again, so all players are going to draw 1 card from the deck. Wonderful. Indigo bunting, cool. Okay. What is going on here? Well, every round, there is a goal for that round. So at the end of each round, we're sort of competing to see who can satisfy these goals. The goal here was sets of eggs in wetlands, grasslands, and forest. And what that means, it says right here, 1 set of eggs consists of 1 egg in the wetlands row, 1 egg in the grassland row, and 1 egg in the forest row. Count the number of sets. So anyway, the point is you would need to have an egg in the forest, in the grassland, in the wetland. That would be 1. If you had 2 in each, that would be 2. But I don't have a bird in each habitat. So I certainly can't have an egg in each habitat because you need birds to hold the egg. So I didn't satisfy this at all, and it looks like nobody did. So we'll just leave that at that for now. We'll talk about the next round goal in a moment. Now, what I want to notice here is the fact that in each round, you have a certain number of turns. So in round 1, we had 8 turns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In the physical game, this is represented by little cubes. Each player is going to have 8 cubes. And every time you do something, whether you play a bird or whether you activate a habitat, you're going to take one of your cubes and put it onto the board to show that you've used it. And that's how you keep track of when the round is over, okay, is when using those physical cubes. Now, the digital game, you don't have to manage that yourself. It just sort of keeps track of it for you. But one of your cubes also is going to be used to mark your place on this competition. So each of us is marking that we had 0 points for this round goal. And so one of our cubes is gone for that, which means in the next round, instead of having 8 cubes, we're each going to have 7 cubes. And that's going to happen each round. So what that means essentially is that each round is shorter than the previous round. So you've got 8 actions in the first round, 7 actions in the second round, and 6 and then 5. Okay, so it's my turn, and what can I do? Well, first let's talk about this bird that I played. So you notice when I played the woodpecker, it had this when played ability, draw 2 bonus cards and keep 1. And when I played this longspur, it was the same thing. When I played this blue-gray gnatcatcher, nothing happened because this ability is not when played. Instead, it's when activated. Okay, well, what does that mean? It means that if I activate the forest, so if I were to go for food here by clicking on this little space, I would collect food, and then what I do is I activate any birds in the forest habitat that have a when activated ability. So let me show you how that works. I need food because I have birds and I don't have any food. Okay. So I'm going to click this. Now notice there are 2 dice here. So one of the cool things about Wingspan is as you fill in your habitat with birds, that habitat becomes more powerful or more productive. So the first slot, like let's take a look at the player board again, just to show you this. If you look at the forest, that first slot, if you have no bird in it and you activate the forest, you get 1 food. When you have one bird in there, the second space gets activated instead, and that gives you one food. And then you also have the option to discard a card to get another food. When both first slots are full, then you activate the third one, and that just gives you 2 food straight up. Okay, and it's a similar deal with the grasslands and the wetlands. Sort of the more birds you get in there, the more you're going to get out of that habitat when you activate it. So let me go ahead and activate my forest. I'm going to collect food. Okay, choose bird from the bird feeder. So I can take this, then it will be re-rolled and I can choose another one. Or if I want, I could re-roll now. But I do want one of these. So I'm just going to take that. Now I'll re-roll. And I'll go ahead and take a seed. Okay, so that was the collecting food part. Now I get to activate the bird part. Okay, this says gain 1 invertebrate from the supply. So that means not from the feeder, but just from the supply, which is like a pile of food tokens that exist. Okay, so this is really nice because it means every time I'm activating the forest, I'm getting an extra invertebrate for free. So I have 2 invertebrates and 1 seed, which looking back, I'm not sure if I could have made a different decision there, but it's good enough that I can play this on my next turn. Okay. So while we're here, let's take a look at the round goal. So the next round goal here is, let's mouse over it. Count the total number of eggs on birds with this specific nest type. Multiple eggs on one bird each count. Okay, so we looked at the birds before. There's various little sort of stats on the birds. We know about the points. This bird is worth 1 point. This bird is worth 4 points. Another thing about the birds is they each have a different type of nest. And the names for the nests, I do have that here somewhere. Hold on a second. What is it? Okay, so we've got platform, bowl, cavity, and ground. And then there's also star, which is wild. It counts as any type. Okay, so bowl nests are what we care about right now. And it just so happens I do have this bird with a bowl nest, and this bird also has a bowl nest. And so at the end of this round, we're going to be looking at how many eggs are sitting on birds with bowl nests. Currently, I have 0, and it's showing me the current situation. The owl has 3 already. The green cardinal, I don't know, I'm not a bird guy, has 2. This pelican thing has 0, and I have 0. Okay, but there's still time. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and play this juniper titmouse. I have the food for it, and I'm going to need 1 egg. You can see I'm going to need 1 egg there, but I have that, so that's good. We'll pay the food. And I need to spend an egg. This is the only egg I have left.
Juniper titmouse. These little birds make it through winter by storing seeds.
I really love the little information you get about the birds. Like I said, I'm not a birder. I certainly appreciate birds. I appreciate nature, but I'm not someone who knows the names of the birds or can identify their calls for the most part. But if you are that kind of person, I really think you would get a kick out of this game, especially the digital version, because the digital version actually has all of the bird calls. So when you play a bird, you'll actually hear its call, which I think is amazing. Also, you can just go into the menu and there's like a database essentially where you can just like listen to all of the bird calls. So I think it's really cool. The people who made this game obviously care about it and have a lot of knowledge about that stuff. Okay, it's my turn, and I'm out of food basically. I'm out of eggs, so I cannot play this indigo bunting. I need food for that, and I'm going to need eggs for that. All right, well, you know what? I'm going to go for the food here. So I'm going to click here. And I'm going to take the rodent because I'm going to get an invertebrate from this card. So just by activating this, I'm going to choose food here, but I'm also going to get this thing. Well, actually, I'm not going to get that. We'll talk about that in a moment. But let me take the invertebrate. We'll re-roll the rest. We'll take a fruit. And I'll take a fish since I am going to want that. Oh, no, I only get 2. Right. Okay. All right. So this one says gain 1 seed from the supply and cache it on this card. Okay, so when I made my decision there, I unfortunately sort of misread how this was going to work. But what this means is I'm going to take one of those seed foods and I'm going to cache it on the card, which means it's just going to sit on the card. And what that means is that's going to be worth a point at the end of the game. I can't use that food. I can't use it to feed other birds. It's just a way of getting extra points. So essentially this bird starts out being worth 4 points, but as I use the forest more and more, that bird is going to be worth more points. So that's another source of points in the game, is caching resources on birds. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to gain the invertebrate from the supply. And that's that. So unfortunately, I am still short a seed to feed this bird. You can see the cached seed here. It's back to me. Okay, let's take stock of my bonus cards here, just to kind of see what other things I'm aiming towards for points. So the first one I have here, Backyard Birder, birds worth less than 4 points. If I have 5 or 6 of them, I get 3 bonus points at the end of the game. If I have 7 or more, I get 6. So worth less than 4, not 4 or less. So unfortunately, these two don't count. I have 1. Unfortunately, I only have 1 cheap bird right now. So it's going to be hard to satisfy this one. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Breeding Manager, birds with at least 4 eggs laid on them. And I get 1 point for each bird that has at least 4 eggs on it. That's going to be tough because I only have 1 bird that actually can hold 4 eggs. These ones are 3 or 2. Okay, that's going to be difficult. And then the Fishery Manager, birds that eat fish. So I don't have any of those yet. And, you know, we're not worried about it here. We're not like focused on maximizing our points. We're just learning the game. All right, so I can't play my bunting. I could go for food again, but there's actually no seeds here, so that's not great. What I might do is actually just get some eggs right now, because I'm also out of eggs, and I will need eggs to play the bunting later. We can take a look at the birds that are available, see if there's anything super interesting here. You know, this ruddy duck is kind of cool. I also kind of like this kingfisher. The kingfisher is interesting because 1, it eats fish. So that's a card that eats fish. It costs 1 fish plus 1 of anything else. It also has a star nest. That wild nest is quite valuable because it helps meeting some of these conditions. It also has 4 egg slots on it. And it has this once between turns ability. When another player plays a wetlands bird, gain 1 fish from the supply. So I could potentially be kind of gaining fish from this guy in the future. So, you know what? I'm gonna take this kingfisher. And that's my turn. Northern Shoveler. All players draw 1 from the deck. Nice. I'm loving these bonuses I'm getting from the other players. A Spotted Towhee. Gain. Okay. Nice. This one's going to be giving me more food. I like that. Okay. Now, I'd like to play this because this is going to be kind of giving me more food when I activate the feeder in the future. It's also, once I fill this slot, I can gain 3 food every time I take from the feeder. So that'll start giving me a lot of food production. It's also a bird that's worth 0 points, which is normally not good, but it is helping me towards this bonus card. But the issue is I have the food. So this guy's cost is 1 fruit or 1 invertebrate or 1 seed. The slash means or. And this guy can be played in the forest or in the wet or in the grasslands, which is cool. But I have no eggs, so I need to go get some eggs. So let's do that. And let's put them on these bowl. Let's put both of them here, since that satisfies this sort of challenge. Now, do I want to, you know what? I might actually lose a food to get an extra egg. So let me pay an invertebrate because I've got a few of those here. And that'll give me 3 eggs. So let's put them all there right now. Okay. So looking at the goal here, we can see the current progress. The owl has 9 eggs on bowl nests right now. Green has 7. I only have 3. And the way that the points work is it's sort of a ranked order. So whoever has the most will get 5 points. Then second will get 2 points, and third will get 1 point. I don't know that I'm going to be able to overtake. Maybe they're going to spend a bunch of eggs, but probably not. Okay, so I want to play this spotted towhee. Now, do I play it here? Or do I want to play it in the wetland so that I can be getting more eggs in the future? So here's the thing too. If I play it here, it's going to cost me 2 eggs. If I play it here, it's going to cost me 1 egg. So it's interesting decision making about where do you want to put your birds? Which habitat do you want to do you want to max out one of them, or do you want to keep them balanced? It's an interesting kind of decision thing. I sort of feel like I'm going to put it here. Okay, so I can choose which one I want to pay. Let's pay an invertebrate since I have 2 of those. And I need to spend an egg. Okay, this is my last turn for the round. So after this, we're going to see who wins here. Again, I don't think I'm really in contention for anything. Maybe, you know, 3rd place at best, which is 1 point. All right. So I'm either going to take eggs or I'm going to take food. I guess I will go with eggs. I guess I'll load them up. Whoops. How do I undo? Here we go. We'll load them up here since one of my things is like having birds with 4 eggs. So, you know, that's where we'll put them for now. Okay, and because I activated the habitat, that's also going to activate any of the birds with a brown ability. So I get 1 seed from there. 1 seed from the supply, which is nice. I've got 1 fruit, 1 invertebrate, and 1 seed. Maybe these guys will spend a bunch of eggs. No. All right, I got 3rd here, which is worth a point. It's better than nothing. Okay, so the next one is going to be count the total number of birds with this specific nest type, and that nest type is called a platform nest. So the number of platform nest birds that have at least 1 egg. Each bird just counts once, no matter how many eggs it has on it. Well, I don't have any of those yet, but these guys are already off to the races. This guy will count for that. So this is kind of the next thing I want to do. I want to get this kingfisher out to try to maybe start getting some fish off of the other player's birds. All right, it's over to me. So, you know, the turns are getting fewer as we go. All right, so I could play the bunting. What does the bunting do? When activated, gain 1. Okay, gain 1 invertebrate or 1 fruit from the bird feeder if there is one. So that bird can take food out of the feeder if it's there, which is pretty cool. But I want to get this kingfisher out. Now the thing is, like, you might say, how is that even possible? You don't have any fish. Well, something you can do is you can pay two of any various combination of food to convert it into one of another, or to pay the cost of one other one. So I don't have a fish, but I could pay 2 of anything to substitute for that fish. So I could pay a fruit and an invertebrate, and that counts as a fish. Then I need to pay 1 of anything else. So I can actually pay the 3 resources I have to put out the kingfisher. And so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I have to pay all 3 of these to equal that, right? So the fish is like, let's say these 2, and the wild is, let's say, that one. All right, and what this does is it says once between turns, when another player plays a wetlands bird, gain 1 fish from the supply. So between my rounds, if anybody puts a bird in their wetlands, I'm going to get a fish. Now it's only going to be able to happen once. So from between my turn and my next turn, like even if all 3 of them do it, I'm just getting 1 fish, not 3. Okay, but nobody did it that time. Getting a card draw from that other guy's bird, a mountain chickadee. Okay. It's another one that's going to cash some points for me. All right, I've got a bunch of eggs here, and that's fine. I'm going to be using them. But another thing that's important about eggs is at the end of the game, for every egg that you have sitting on a bird, in other words, every unspent egg, that's 1 point. Okay, so that's another way to get points in the game, is to have eggs. The 20 here is the capacity. So that's adding up all of the egg slots on all of my birds. All right, so currently 5 of my 20 egg slots have eggs on them. So if the game were to end right now, that would be worth 5 points. But of course, I'm going to use them to play birds, but it's something to keep in mind. Okay, so what's this chickadee? Okay, when activated, gain a seed and cash it, so that's points. When activated, gain food. I kind of like that better. I think I want to put this here, but I have no food. So that's the thing. Let's get some food. Okay, fruit. Let's take that. Let's take a seed as well. This is going to cash a seed for a victory point. And this is going to get us an invertebrate from the supply, so that's going to be enough for this guy right there. That worked out really nicely. Come on, play a wetlands bird. So we can look at the opponent's habitats if we want to. All right, and it's back to me. So here's what's going on. You can see I've got 3 in the forest, 2 in the wetlands, or 2 in the grasslands, 1 in the wetlands. All right. I think I want to play this bunting. Now, the reason I can't play it here is I can't play it into the wetlands. It can only go in the forest or the grasslands. So which one do I want? When it happens, it's going to get me food. So the interesting thing here is by putting it into the wetlands, it sort of makes this a one-stop shop. I can get eggs and food at the same time, which is kind of interesting. Here, it just kind of is going to make me, you know, it's going to charge up my food capacity. I kind of like the idea of mixing that up. So we're going to put it here. And that is going to cost 3 food. And it's also going to cost 1 egg. Okay, so let's take an egg here. Notice I don't activate this yet, right? You only activate this when you're not playing a bird card. Your turn is play a bird card or activate a habitat. When you activate a habitat, it also activates the birds that are in that habitat. Okay. How is everybody doing on this? This guy has 3. Now I could... Yeah. I only have 1 bird that matches that criteria, which is this guy with the star. Because this star nest counts as any type of nest. It's interesting what it says about that. Let me actually bring that up here. I'm going to show you the description because it's kind of cool. Okay, so these are the nest types right here. So star nests are wild. These birds build unusual nests that don't fit into the 4 standard types. These can be powerful because they can match any other nest type for goals, bonus cards, and bird powers. So they build unusual nests. And I think if you knew a lot about birds, I think a lot of the decisions about the mechanics would make a kind of sense as to what those birds are actually like. I have no idea what kingfishers' nests are like, but you tell me, do they have unusual nests that don't fit into these types? Okay, so this chickadee doesn't have any food, so let's think about getting some food. But you know what? Why don't we do it from here? So let's collect eggs, and we're going to get food at the same time. Although, okay, invertebrate or berry, is that in the feeder right now? Invertebrate is. Okay. So we're going to get 3 eggs now. Let's lay our eggs. All right, well, let's just put them all on the kingfisher because he's the only one that matches this goal. Now, that's only going to be 1 because 1 bird that has an egg on it. But looking ahead to round 4, we're going to look at the number of eggs in the wetlands row, and this is where this guy is. So maybe that'll matter. All right, choose from the bird feeder. Okay, we'll take an invertebrate here. We get 1 seed from the supply. Come on, somebody play a wetlands bird and give me a fish. Nobody wants to do it. Okay, well, getting another free card, which is cool. Clark's Nutcracker. When activated, gain 1 seed from the bird feeder if available. You may cash it on the card. That's nice. This is also a bird that has that right kind of nest. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to play the bird and get a seed and get an egg on it. That's going to be tough. I don't think I have enough food to make that happen. It needs 3 food. Yeah, that's not going to work, unfortunately. This guy can only go in the forest. This guy can also only go in the forest. Well, let's do it. Okay, we'll pay the invertebrate here. We'll spend that egg and that egg. So the next time I activate the forest, I'm going to get a lot of food. Come on, play a wetlands bird. Nobody will do it. Okay, this canvas back keeps activating. Let's just see what that card even is. American Robin. Okay, we'll talk about that in a moment. Really nice music in this game, by the way. It's beautiful sound design, beautiful music, really nice UI, I think. Graphic design, the art is nice. The bird calls, incredible. If you want to, you can actually have animated birds. Let me see if I can turn that on in the middle of a game. Okay, I'll put it on here just to show you what it looks like. So now you can see everything is animated. Or I guess it just animates the birds that are in habitats. Okay. So it's kind of cool. It's all right. I prefer it not animated. I just like the art. I don't need the animations personally, but that's what they look like. Okay, it's my turn. How is this thing looking? Oh, wow. Okay, so one is way ahead, and then we're looking at a potential tie. So we'll see how that works if it happens. I have one action remaining before the end of the round. Do I have any birds with platform nests that I can put an egg on? This guy already has an egg on him, so I can't do that. What does this robin do? Okay, so just to show you what this robin does, it says when activated, tuck a card from your hand behind this bird. If you do, draw one card. So that's a kind of a two-faceted ability. The tuck a card from your hand, it has to be a bird card, by the way, so it can't be one of these bonus cards. It's a way to trade a card for a different card, so that's one thing. But every tucked card is also worth a point at the end of the game. So just like this bird can cache food, and this bird can cache food, those are points. Tucked cards are another sort of way of doing that. All right, so do I want to collect food, or... I'm sort of interested in this card. Yeah, I can actually get a couple of cards. Okay. I'm going to draw this red-breasted merganser because it's a fish-eating bird that I care about. It's also a way of potentially getting more cards. I'm going to do that. Do I want to pay an egg for another card? You know what? I think I will. Okay, so we'll lose an egg here. Wait, is that right? No, let's lose this one. Okay, now I can choose one of these two, or I can draw from the deck. I'm not super interested in these. Let's see what I get here. Okay, this is kind of interesting. A killdeer. Okay. Okay. So what happens here is green was first and gets 6 points. And then the three of us were tied. We all had 1, which means we get the... we divide up the points on that reward. So, okay, the way ties works is you add up the points for the one you're tied on and the one below it. So we're tied for second and third, essentially. Okay, so that looks like it should be 5 points, but then you divide it by 3 and you round down. So 5 divided by 3 rounded down is 1 point each. Okay, so essentially the three of us are sharing the points for second and third. But you round down the division, so we're each getting 1 point there. So green loves that result. All right, so we're in the final round of the game, and the goal is eggs in the wetlands, and everybody is already way ahead of me there. The good news is maybe people are going to be putting birds in the wetlands. So far, nobody wants to do it, as Kingfisher is not doing a lot of fishing. Yeah. So I mean, that's part of the strategy of the game is like getting those kinds of birds out sooner obviously gives you more chances to actually get the value. So it may have been a little bit too late on that kingfisher. Okay, so let's go back to my situation. I have one seed, which could be used to play a killdeer. I think I do want to play the killdeer. Either that, or I can collect food for this guy. Collecting food does a lot of stuff for me here. Unfortunately, no fish are available. But I can take a berry, an invertebrate, and then re-roll since I don't need the rodents. Let's try that. Okay, I'm going to take the berry or the fruit, the invertebrate. These are both the same, so I'm going to re-roll them. And all right, well, I'll take a seed. And then I'm going to get another seed. No, I'm going to get one more invertebrate. Okay, let's cache a seed there. Cache a seed there, so that's a couple of points. Get an invertebrate from the supply. Somebody give me a fish, man. Come on. Teach a man to... Look, give a man to fish. Don't teach a man to fish. Just give a man a fish. I want to eat for a day, okay? Oh, it worked. Thank you, pink or orange or whatever that color is. When another player plays a wetlands bird, gain a fish from the supply. Thank you. Okay. Yes. Excellent. Okay, so that means I can now play this red-breasted merganser. We'll play that right here. In you go. Pay the food. Click on a bird from any habitat to spend an egg. I think... Oh yeah, there's one here that I don't need, so we'll just go ahead and do that.
Red-breasted merganser. A red-breasted merganser was recorded flying 160 kilometers an hour, the fastest of any duck.
160 kilometers an hour? That's crazy. What the hell? Okay, just for those of you who are interested in miles per hour, 60 kilometers an hour is basically 100 miles an hour. So that's like 240 miles per hour or something like that. Anyway, that's crazy. Okay, well, what do I want to do now? What is this nutcracker? These birds are omnivorous. Wait. Okay, gain seeds from the bird feeder if available. Discard eggs to draw cards. The only one weird thing with the UI is the mouse over is like a little bit weird. Okay, tuck a card to draw a new card. That's kind of interesting. I definitely want to fill these guys up. Yeah, let's just load up the wetlands here. Okay, I'm going to have to pay an egg here to do it. So I'm doing this because I want to just fill these guys with eggs so that I can hopefully win this. I'm quite a bit behind though, man. How am I doing on my bonus? Okay, it looks like I'm getting 3 points there. I currently have 5 cheap birds. If I got 2 more, that'd be worth an extra 3 points. Okay. Birds with at least 4 eggs laid on them. Not doing great on that, but we'll see. Fishery manager. Okay, I've got 3 points out of that right now. I would need 2 more fish-eating birds to get to the 8 points. Okay, I think I'm just going to go ahead and get eggs here. Only 2 actions left. Yeah, this game is about to end. So I'm also going to pay a seed for more eggs. Okay, so let's fill these guys up. Boom, 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 boom. Take this from the feeder. Take that from the supply. That's from these guys, right? I activated the grassland, so I activate this bird, get something from the feeder, activate this one, get from the supply. Okay. How am I doing now? Oh, everybody's loading up the eggs. Yikes. Okay, this is my last action of the game. All right. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I haven't really talked about. I don't think so. So, the points at the end of the game are going to be the points on your bird cards, plus the points you get from your bonus cards, plus the points you've gotten from the round goals, plus any eggs you have left over, plus any tucked cards, any cached food. Okay, that's it. So tucked cards can be from like this guy, for example, and there's different thematic ways that birds can tuck cards. So this one is like the robin is storing, you know, stuff for the winter, I guess. But there are also predator birds, where they sort of like hunt other birds. I mean, it's not like you're attacking your opponents or anything. It's just a way of like tucking cards under them. But the theme is they're actually hunting those birds. And they usually care about the wingspan of the birds. So none of my effects have cared about that. But you can see here, the game is called Wingspan. And this is the wingspan of these birds. And so there are different effects that sometimes care about that. Some goal or bonus cards might care about the wingspan, and some of those predators care about that. So some of them will work like when you activate the card, look at the top card of the deck. If it's a bird with wingspan less than whatever, tuck it under the card, and that's worth a point at the end of the game. Okay, so what can I do with my final action? Well, playing this bird would be worth 5 points. But I would have to play it into the forest, which would cost me 2 eggs. So that's minus 2 points for the eggs. So that'd be like net 3 points for doing that. So it seems if I take eggs, I could get 4 eggs, right? 3 plus another one for a food. And that also would help me compete for this, which the competition is pretty tight there. So I kind of think that's what I need to be doing. The Sandpiper is worth 5 points, but, you know, same issue. It would cost me 2 eggs to use it. It doesn't really do anything particularly amazing for me. If I were to activate the forest, I could cash 2. That would be 2 points only. Birds with at least 4 eggs on them. Unfortunately, okay, we're gonna lay eggs. I'm gonna pay food to get 4 eggs here. Okay, so what's the situation here? Buddy's got 8. So if I go all in, I might be able to win that. 1, 2, 3. That's also gonna fill up that. So that's 2 birds that have 4 eggs on them. Let's do that. Okay, I get to take food from the feeder. It doesn't really matter, I don't think. Get one from the supply. Okay, looks like I have taken the lead there, which is with 7 points. If that stays true, I'm getting a fish. Okay, fine. Whoop. Okay, so I managed to come first in that last round goal of the number of eggs in wetlands. I got 7 eggs in there. That got me 7 points. So I definitely think that was my best move for my last round. So at this point now, we're done, and we're going to count up the score for the game. So let's see. All right, so the points on bird cards. I love the way it animates here. Okay. Bonus cards, end of round goals. Okay. Eggs. Food on cards. Tucked cards. Okay. So there you go. That's the game. So I lost the game to the AI, which I think is honestly a good sign. That, you know, the AI is not a pushover. Now, you know, like I said, I wasn't really focused too much on, you know, the strategy, trying to necessarily optimize everything, but more about trying to show you the game in a logical way. But win or lose, I hope that that shows you basically how the game works. So this little thing here, this scoring thing, I love the way it animates. I love the way it breaks it down. And so just to review, where do your points come from? They come from the points on the birds you have in your habitat. They come from your bonus cards. So those are those cards that say, like, if you have 4 birds that are worth, you know, 2 points or whatever, or if you have birds that eat fish. Okay, so those are the bonus cards. The end of round goals, those are the end of each of the 4 rounds, right? So it was like the number of, you know, eggs on round bowl nests, or the number of eggs in the wetlands, or the number of birds with a platform nest that have an egg on them. Okay, so those are important to the score. Then just how many eggs do you have on birds at the end of the game? How many food has been cached on the birds, right? So those are my birds in the forest that had seeds cached on them. And tucked cards. So those are other birds that have a way of taking cards and just tucking them underneath the card for extra points. And there you go. So that does it for the tutorial here on Wingspan. I think it's a really, really nice game. I've never played this game over the table, but I think I would enjoy it. It seems to have very nice components. Here's what it looks like if you're actually playing it in person, just from the rule book there. But I think this digital adaptation is really well done. You know, the sound, the music, the UI, the art, the graphic design, the animations, all of it is just really, really done well by Monster Couch. And they do have expansions for the game. I think there are 3 different expansions that add birds like from different regions. There's like Oceania and Europe and Asia, I believe. And they have different mechanics and all that. I haven't tried any of that. In the digital game here, I'll just give you a quick look at sort of the different modes that are available. So when you play by yourself, you can make a custom game. You can choose how many, you know, AIs you want to play against. You can adjust their difficulty, or what you can make them people if you want. I guess you can play hot seat maybe. There's different game modes. The goals you can also choose, by the way, and this is also true if you're playing in person. So you can choose whether you want to have a competitive goal, and that's what we were using there. So that was like, for example, the final round of the game was about how many eggs do you have in the wetlands? And whoever has the most got 7 points. Whoever had the second most got 4 points, and so on. You can play that way. Or if you want to, you can play sort of a non-competitive mode where you just get points like for each one you have, up to a maximum of 5. And so if the goal is eggs in wetlands, then if you have 4 eggs in the wetlands, you get 4 points. If you have 1 egg in the wetland, you get 1 point, like that. And everybody just gets their own points. It's not a competitive thing that way. I mean, it's still competitive. You're trying to get more points than the other players, but you're not competing for that sort of ranked score at the end of each round. So that's a choice that you can make, and that is true physically or digitally. I prefer the sort of ranked points. I think that makes it more exciting. You can choose the order in different ways. You can choose what expansions you play with. There's tutorials in the game. So, you know, Another way to learn the game is going through these tutorials. I did play the tutorial a long time ago. Personally, I didn't find it to be that great, but I think they have revamped it. So that's there for you. You can also play online, and you can play online against other people. There are challenges you can do. So I think there is like, I'm not sure exactly how this works, but I think it's like, oh, here you go. This mode puts you up against the automata, which is like automated enemies, but there's a catch. Nothing is random. Everything is predetermined, and the more you play, the more you'll be able to learn about the decks and the bird feeder. Use this knowledge to anticipate what happens next and create the most optimal combos to become this week's champ of the birds. The challenge changes every week. So it's a competitive solitaire, essentially. You're playing the exact same game that other people are playing, and you're trying to like go for optimization, where you can do it multiple times, knowing what's happening. Everything is predetermined. So you know what decks are, you know what the birds are going to be, you know what the feeder is going to have. I've never tried it, but it's kind of interesting. And then you can just play against people online, either in real-time matches or in asynchronous matches, which means like you take your turn, and then, you know, the other person can take their turn whenever it's convenient for them. So lots of stuff to do here, and that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this. And if you like this, of course, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I've got lots of more digital board game tutorials and playthroughs, including for Dune Imperium, Root, Clank, and Everdell, as well as some other stuff on there. Dune Imperium is the main thing I do on this channel, so if you're interested in that game, definitely check it out. You can watch me play live. I stream every Sunday morning at Sundays 9 a.m. Eastern time, and I have a Discord as well, so you can join the Discord to find out about miscellaneous streams, ask questions, chat with other people who love board games. So thank you so much for watching. Also you can follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Bludgeon. Hope this was interesting for you. I love this game. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.